Jake Tapper today on State of the Union on CNN had a great piece. The way they aggregated clips to show that the current potential nominee of the Republican Party, Donald Trump, that his behavior is that of a mob boss. He didn't quite say that. But if you illustrate to the reasons why, one, Donald Trump, who was impeached twice, never got convicted by the Senate, even though the votes were likely there, but later likely changed because of the fear people had for their families and their own well-being, because the mob boss's organization would likely get them. It is amazing because that if people understand that, and understand that even if Donald Trump is your man, if you allow that sort of intimidation to work, this time it may work for you, but it may never work again. One, in the near term, that is one, because the person who gets into the power under that form remains into power as long as he can, and those who follow him follow the same modus operandi, or the next group that takes power takes on the same modus operandi. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
With the flurry of news this week, you can be forgiven if you missed one pretty important moment a few days ago in a D.C. courthouse where Donald Trump and his legal team argued he has legal immunity for his actions regarding the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol, part of special counsel Jack Smith's prosecution of Trump for conspiracy to obstruct that official proceeding, for example, with lies that incited violent and angry crowds, and prosecution for conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy against rights, as in the right to vote, regarding his pressure campaign, for example, on elected officials to violate their oaths of office and deliver states that Biden won to him.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
It was, of course, a mendacious campaign, and it led to a dark, deadly day on the Capitol with 4 Trump supporters dead, 1 police officer, Brian Sicknick, dead, and in the aftermath, because of the horrific trauma of that day, several law enforcement officials later dying by suicide. In court, Trump and his lawyers are claiming that he cannot be charged because of presidential immunity, but at least one of the judges, Florence Pan, tried to put their argument to something of a stress test.
A president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is no.
My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur.
The answer was no. That person would not be prosecutable. To translate that from the legalese, Trump's lawyers are arguing Trump as president could order an assassination of a political rival using SEAL Team 6 without prosecution, unless he is first impeached by the House and then convicted by the Senate. If a President Trump were to order the assassination of a political rival using SEAL Team 6, would a majority of the House of Representatives vote to impeach him? Would there be 67 U.S. senators willing to vote to convict him? Let's restate this. According to Trump and his team, he could use the U.S. military to assassinate a political rival, and he could escape prosecution if 34 senators, Republicans, were willing to acquit him for such an action. That prompted this from Democratic Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii.
Do you think 34 United States senators stand ready to vote to acquit? I don't know.
8 years ago, less than 2 weeks before the Iowa caucus of 2016, Donald Trump famously praised the loyalty of his supporters by saying this.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
It is not difficult to imagine Trump getting votes from his ride or die congressional supporters, the ones who helped pave the path for what happened on January 6th by mounting challenges based on these election lies. But what about the others, not ride or die, the mainstream Republicans? How would they vote? You remember what former Congresswoman Liz Cheney told me about why only 10 House Republicans voted to impeach Trump in the House for his role in the insurrection?
There were members who told me that they were afraid for their own security, afraid, in some instances for their lives. And that tells you something about where we are as a country. If members of Congress aren't able to cast votes or feel that they can't because of their own security.
In a recent book, Senator Mitt Romney shared similar anecdotes. Quote, one Republican congressman confided to Romney that he wanted to vote for Trump's second impeachment, but chose not to out of fear for his family's safety. Why put his wife and children at risk if it wouldn't change the outcome? A member of Republican Senate leadership was talked out of voting to convict Trump in the Senate. Quote, you can't do that, Romney recalled someone saying. Think of your personal safety, said another. Think of your children. The senator eventually decided they were right, unquote. Now, how do you think those fears might impact votes after this hypothetical assassination of a political rival? We're in a dangerous place right now as a country. A major swath of the United States has been lied to repeatedly by Republican leaders and MAGA media such as Fox, people who know better, but who have bet on power over principle.
So for all the people who have put their own personal ambition ahead of what's right, they will ultimately have to answer the same questions that I had to answer after my decision in 2016. Those questions don't ever leave. Facts are really stubborn. They stay.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie looked out at Capitol Hill on January 7th, 2021, and he hated what he saw, and he hated the role he felt he had played in it. And he feared that what might come next would be worse.
I remember what Benjamin Franklin said when he was walking down the street in Philadelphia after the Constitutional Convention, and a woman approached him on the street and said, Mr. Franklin, what kind of government did you give us? And he said to the woman, a republic, if you can keep it.
Can we?
I swear to you, when I saw the piece aggregated the way Jake Tapper did, it's hard to believe that this is America, that this is the United States of America. It's hard to believe that we have people who have been brainwashed, indoctrinated into thinking that this is just par for the course. But as Christie ended one of his exit speech on the Benjamin Franklin's, I think it was Benjamin Franklin's statement, we have a union. The question is whether we can keep it. We have a republic. The question is whether we can keep it. And the truth of the matter, it's in our hands. The truth of the matter is, we better be careful what we're doing, because an election of Donald Trump in the long run removes any form of moral authority the United States has ever had.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.